Welcome back, everyone. I'm John Furrier, host of theCUBE. We are here at our NYSE studios, of course. We have our Palo Alto studio in California connecting Wall Street and Silicon Valley. Tech and money as AI is hitting the scenes here. It's Retail Week. NRF has been going on since Sunday. It wraps up today. So we're interviewing all the AI leaders as part of a new series. We have an AI leader here in retail. We have Baschet, who's the Chief Data and AI Officer for Mirakl. Thanks for coming in and thanks for spending the time.
Happy to be with you today. That's
so
great.
NRF this year, bigger than ever.
Yeah.
40,000, 45,000 people. Everyone's showing off their new stuff. But it's not like the retail show of about 10 years ago. Last year we saw a lot of AI, a lot of agentic. This year even more. CES happens the week before. That was all about physical AI and automation. So you got CES and NRF. It's a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
The focus here is data, agents, which is a data problem. What was your takeaway this year from NRF?
I think everyone is really starting to see that we are entering a new phase of commerce that I could call Commerce 3.0. We had the Commerce 1.0 with the web, with the mobile and social, then 2.0 with the platform revolution led by big players like Amazon, Airbnb, and now we are really entering the Commerce 3.0 where every retailers will have to manage other channels that are going to be agents, that are going to be used by their customers to buy their product. And that's really a revolution, but a shopper revolution.
Claire, I really like how you put that together because think about cloud. That was cloud native.
Yeah.
A lot of goodness in the cloud, lift and shift. Good data architectures in there. But the on-prem was kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
It's happened, slow. Now with, over the past 3 years in particular, a real resurgence of the on-premises hybrid.
Yeah.
So you got cloud, scale, and domain data, both that's centralized and now at the edge with retail, almost like a new kind of way to think about it. What is your takeaway for that? Because the data is now in many places, and you now have robust computing at the edge. You got wireless is converging very fast.
So I think today technology is not anymore the blocker, and even the cost of the technology is not anymore the blocker. So I think really what matters now is how you aggregate this data wherever they are to be meaningful and create impactful business. And if we look at agentic commerce, the fact that shoppers now want to buy on this platform, the question is how do you bring the data you could have and you publish on your website, or that maybe you don't have, that you have to generate with AI on this other channel. So I think where the data is stored does not matter so much, but the question is bringing this data where it matters for your shoppers.
So I wrote a piece on Sunday morning, or Saturday night, I can't remember now, this kind of seems like yesterday, called Retail 2026, when AI becomes the operating system. Now I threw operating system into the title because it's got a little bit of an NVIDIA vibe because we covered them as well. They got all the GPUs, now you got to compute with the cloud. But it really speaks to the systems approach that we're seeing in retail. And I want to get your reaction to a comment I made on this. So I wrote, before AI reshapes the customer experience, it's about fixing the internal plumbing.
Yeah.
This is not a glamorous work, it's foundational. The retailers who get this right build velocity, they move faster, onboard quicker, scale expertise across the organization. AI becomes the nervous system of the enterprise, the operating system.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to that?
100%. What we really see is what matters is really the data you have and the foundation. And really when you think about, not to come back always to agentic commerce, but if we just take this example, you have shoppers that have a problem, they come on these LLMs as they used to come in the store. But in the store, you had the workers of your company, your workforce that was able to answer to it, to drive them to the right product to solve their problem. Now, they just interact with the data LLMs or your company is able to bring. So But after, what really matters are still the same foundation. You have to still have the best price, now with even more transparency in this LLM. If you don't have the best price, you don't sit in the 3 seats, they show up. And then you still have to increase and never be out of stock. You have to increase your assortment, and everything is about data, connecting what user wants to your pricing system and everything. So it's really a layer. I really see that data is really a layer of all your operation, as well as AI and the models you can bring on top of your own data with signals that are internally and externally.
Like a harmonization layer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I mentioned velocity. So speed matters too, because now the interface is the data front end, which is a chatbot, a large language model, or an app. They're serving you up. Not to go back and throw my age out there, but like you go back 16 years, remember the 3 V's of data?
Yeah. Variety, velocity.
Velocity, volume.
Yeah.
So velocity, though, real time is huge.
Yeah.
The speed of the latency of the data. What's your take on making that work, and how do you see the retail? Because you're going to have stores, brick and mortars, physical. Physical AI is just applies to that too.
Yeah, so I think real time will matter more than ever. Maybe when it's in your own channels, a customer want to have a product, you don't have it because you took time to onboard a seller, a supplier, you can come back to him. When it's on external channels, it matters when you will have a user doing checkout on Perplexity and so on. If he's just buying a product that is not in your inventory because it's out of stock, this is going to be really, really messy.
Your company name is Mirakl, M-I-R-A-K-L, okay? It's a miracle, it happened, it's a success. Explain what you guys do and the tech stack. What makes you different? What space are you in? Explain. I said some content, we'll come in some use cases.
Yeah, so we are a tech company, and the company was created in the Commerce 2.0 era when we realized that the platform model was things that make successful Amazon, Airbnb, and really we build the product that enable retailer to be able to onboard an ecosystem of seller to launch a marketplace very fast. And we have the last big launch we had was with Best Buy. That was really the fastest growing company that have really impressive result by launching a marketplace strategy. But we are also helping this retailer to grow their business with retail media. And now when it comes to agentic, we see that the new problem is the interoperability for retailers with this ecosystem of agents. And what we are building is the agentic orchestration layer that is missing to this retailer to be able to publish their catalog, improve their catalog to match and to be, I would say, responsive and optimized for all these LLMs, as well as enable checkout on this platform, and tomorrow maybe ads also.
I mean, Commerce 3.0 is to me about marketplaces. So I love the vision. Marketplaces is not about just the catalog though, it's about the experience, the friction removal, because most people think marketplaces, they think big catalog, a lot of SKUs, a lot of things. Also procurement is a great way to make marketplaces very efficient. We see all the cloud players using marketplaces very effectively, but a lot of them have friction. So how do you see the agents reducing the friction? Because things like an RFP, I mean, I just wrote a LinkedIn post on someone's comment, rest in peace RFP, RIP RFP, because RFPs are like the opposite of what marketplaces are supposed to do. Can you imagine an agent just going through an RFP and saying, here it is, or an order?
Agents can start to answer and craft the first level of answer of RFP already. That's what we are doing for our operation with AI.
Talk about notes. I brought that up a little bit over the top, but agents do solve this. Where do you see the agents coming in at it right away? Where's the value creation, and where does it go from there? Where's the headroom?
I think the experience we were providing like 3 years ago, but mainly today, what customers are experiencing is you type keywords, then you go on the first page of a search engine. You get URL of website, you go there, then you type again your search, then you go to a PDP, and there is like this tremendous assortment with marketplace. But really, I think agents, what they are bringing is this capacity to reduce the friction. I don't type any more keywords, I type my problem or the occasion. I'm a mom of 3 boys, I want a washing machine, mine is broken by Saturday. And I want to get delivered. And they are able, you know, to go across all these inventories, start to think about what silent mean. They are going to look at the PDF instead of me, and I'm very happy to not know what are the good technical characteristics for silent mode. I don't care.
Yeah, we've all lived that.
Yeah.
We've lived the pain of the navigation, the discovery, click, click, click. If you're not one click away or one prompt.
And they will do that for you. So instead of 2 to 3 keywords, 20 minutes, 4 sites, I don't know the number of PDF you've opened, it's going to be, I type my problem and I just get the 3 best recommendations. So it's totally, you know, reducing the friction of a wide assortment, but the wide assortment matters. We've run just a study for one of our biggest customer, big retailer in the US, and we've seen that if he hasn't launched this marketplace strategy, it will only appear 1 time over 2 on the results on LLM. But because he was able with this marketplace strategy to have best price, but also to always be sure never be out of stock on mainstream products, and as well as increases assortment, he shows up in the result 75% of the time, be above the top platform on the market. So that's really still a winning strategy, and I think it's really about keeping your foundation right. But on top of that, think about what's missing for agent to be sure to answer customer needs.
So that's why I like you have Chief Data Officer and Chief AI Officer. The data hygiene, the plumbing, the foundational work has to get done. They deploy the marketplace, they have to have the catalog, they have to have the products and all the things that come with it. Can you share a story or an aha moment when a customer deploys Mirakl? What are some of the things they see right away? More sales, obviously you can surface better products, or it could be an anecdote, share a story.
I think different haha moment. I think the best one is sometimes they discover that product that they didn't think their shopper were using. They are really looking for this kind of product. So they really realize that sometimes it's a big category or a big kind of product they are really missing. I think other things that sometimes they realize, like Rakuten, that is one of our customers, is also using Mirakl to sell on external channels because they are official Lego sellers. And they had themselves the seller experience about they were able to start to sell on 6 different marketplaces within a few days. So I think the haha moment our customers are having with Mirakl solution is they are able to onboard sellers, and sellers can onboard their full catalog within a day. And so that's really the winning strategy, to say I can experiment fast with a new seller, but also the seller it's a frictionless experience for him. So
integration right there. You can onboard people faster, very easily, and you can vet them right away. Are they going to be working? The data just doesn't lie.
Yeah, and our philosophy with AI, it's if you look at the friction from sellers and retailers when it comes to really catalog onboarding, it's really about integrating your data in the taxonomy that is expected by retailers. It seems very hard. It takes many days for most sellers on classical technical products. And we really used AI and agents to, as sellers, can delegate this task to our AI and agents. And we are fine-tuning specific model to make it frictionless. And now, 5 seconds per SKU, their product data are transformed.
Well, you're in charge of the data and the AI. Who do you guys sell to? Because, one, the data is clear, but who's the main buyer of Mirakl? Is it the tech team? Is it the business team? Who purchases the service?
I think more and more we see chief digital officer that are having a role about finding strategy to grow their business. So more and more we see chief digital officer also in charge of the revenue, in charge of this new opportunity. So that's typically the people we talk to. And then after operationally on a day-to-day, it's really the marketplace officer, the CTO also.
Sales.
And sales also.
They want revenue.
But I think when it will come to agentic commerce, really the question is who is stepping up in the organization to seize agentic commerce as a new opportunity to grow the business. And we see now many people in many organizations, from the chief AI to the CTO to the head of e-commerce, thinking about what is the impact for me on my business, on my operation. And the question is really, what is the impact for the company?
Yeah.
And everyone is feeling it's an opportunity zone.
I mean, Claire, it's not a question of if, it's when. Because it's obvious agentic commerce is coming. I have to ask you, because on the data side, I mean, retail's had great data analytics.
Yeah.
They've been very leaning into dashboards, but that's analytics.
Yeah.
Now you have analytics merging with generative AI, which is generative. Every user could be a unique snowflake, if you will, or a different use case. How do you see them looking at that data architecture? You mentioned a data layer. What are some of the things to consider in the platform? I won't say reset or re-platform, but it's more of an adjustment. What is the strategies architecturally that you see emerging, that people are thinking through right now?
Yeah, I think obviously when it comes to data, I see like most of the organizations start to have a real data platform that is collecting and aggregating the data at their data refinery, I would say. And so I think this is a very important foundation. Whatever the organization and the silo, that really matters, because agents don't care for which department this data comes from. They really need it to be relevant and to take efficient actions. So I think this is really
at the right time.
One.
At the right time too. Timing.
Exactly, at the right time. So being able to ingest events in this data platform, and then after we see that the first user of this kind of data platform before were mainly the data analyst or the analytics engineer. Now we see that a big proportion of them are more the data scientists building models on top of this platform and exposing it in real time with API, and now with MCP server considering their models are tools for the agents. So I think that's part of how to be an agentic ready company. When you're retailers, think about how you craft also your model as tools for agents. And the second part is, I think, interoperability with LLMs when it comes to transaction and comes to commerce. That is really critical.
You know, when earlier you mentioned the 3 phases.
Yeah.
I like that because it's a developer environment opportunity too. You mentioned LLM, custom models. Everyone will have their own models.
Yeah.
But they'll use the LLMs and distill off that and kind of have that foundation model capability. That opens up new use cases. So I guess my question for you is there a best practice for getting a win, a success? Because a lot of people either fail because the clock runs out, or they don't get pragmatic on knocking down something they can do.
Yeah, I think 2 answers depending of if you are looking at internally. So I think internally you have really to look at if when it comes to using AI to improve the product you serve to your customer or the services. I would recommend start by the biggest problem and where AI can create the biggest outcome gap, rather than starting to use the technology for the long tail of the use cases or making the list of everything. Agree on the 3 main priorities, and when after it comes to agentic commerce, start to optimize your data for this agent, start with the biggest platform, and then move to a more scalable strategy.
Solve a hard problem first. Okay, final question. What's on your agenda next year? What are you focused on? What's on your plate?
I would say agentic commerce, first one. Obviously, that's when the search engine emerged, like more than, I think, 30 years ago now. There is no standard protocol. There is nothing, so we can write and participate to the history. Google just launched their UCP protocol on Monday. It's really complex, so I think this is the first one priority. Second one is internally continue to scale our organization to be agentic ready. We have more than 50% of our workers that have already built their own agents for their individual purpose or for their team. So I think it's both. And overall, always look for where our customers can grow their business and use AI only for that.
Claire, thank you for bringing your expertise here. You're a mixture of experts. You're part of our Mixture of Experts series.
And I will do reinforcement learning based on all the new protocols that
we'll have you come back
out,
and retrain the audience on the new content, reinforce it. Thank you for coming on and sharing and trailblazing.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm John Furrier, host of theCUBE. The AI Trailblazers retail series is about exploring the people who are identifying the frontier of the value for great user experiences, great business operations, but more importantly, as AI comes in, it will be a force function change to all the process and experiences. Of course, we're doing our part to bring that to you. Thanks for watching.